Here's my ESP32. It's attached to VS Code and it's sitting here in provisioning mode. So it's exposing an SSID that I can connect to. I'll bring in my Pixel, go to network settings, and look for device provisioning. Select it, click sign in again. A page pops up. I'll enter my credentials and click save. Those shoot through to the ESP32 and it connects to the internet. That's how it's supposed to work. When you get to your room at the hotel, you pull out your phone and try to connect the Wi-Fi. You eventually get it, but do you always get it on the first try? In a perfect world, your Wi-Fi router, the access point, whenever you attach a device, should be able to say, hey, I don't care what you asked for, I want you to come to this page first. That's called a captive portal. But the servers in these hotels have different settings. Your phones have different settings. Android, iOS, your laptop's going to be different. Your Windows security is going to be different. I'm going to walk you through the different requests that your phone, your laptop make when it attaches to an access point. This will give you some perspective on what triggers a captive portal. You don't want to ignore the captive portal in your provisioner because when it does pop up, it's so nice, but it is flaky at best. We're not going to have perfect success, but let's make sure you have this feature in your provisioner. I'm going to pull down last week's code base. This is an ESP32 provisioner without a captive portal. I'll change the folder name to captive portal because that's what we're working towards. This is a Platform IO project. All of the code that I'm creating in my tutorials will work with Arduino IDE. At the end of each video, I'll show you that it does. We compile, and the device goes to provisioning mode. This is the same thing you saw in the opening video shot. We go through, find the device provisioning SSID attached to it, make certain selections to accept this network connection. But unlike the opening scene, we need to accept that there's no internet connection, open a browser, and then manually enter the IP address to access the provisioning page. From here on out, it works the same. We enter our credentials, and then the ESP32 attaches, but it's a little bit more work. I'll show you how with just a little bit of code added, we can get that captive portal feature. We're starting with an already running ESP32 provisioner, and then we're going to add a captive portal to it. To understand the provisioner itself, see this video linked in the upper right from 2 weeks ago when we first authored the provisioning logic. I'll do a quick tour here to catch you up on what we already did. Then we'll turn around and add the code that gives us the captive portal. In main, we include our provisioner library, create some character buffers, pass those to the getCreds function, and then begin our Wi-Fi using those return values. After we're connected, we log that it's so. In the header file for our library, you see we expose our getCreds function, but we also expose an instance of provisioner, so that when we include our header file in main, we can call provisioner.getCreds. Moving into our source file, getCreds starts a provisioner and then waits for its completion. In our start provisioner, we set the Wi-Fi mode to AP and expose our SSID. We set some server routes, and then we start our server. After that, we're going to loop indefinitely and check for server activity until our provisioning is complete. In our save route, we'll receive the values for the SSID and password and write those into our private variables. Then we'll set provisioning complete to true. That means this loop will exit. We'll return back to getCreds, where we copy those values to our main's character buffers. Coming back to main, it can now use those return values to connect to Wi-Fi. So let's add our DNS server. In the header file, we're going to include the DNS Server library. We'll create an instance of the DNS server inside of our class. Similar to the web server, we're going to call a DNS server start function. 53 is the port that we're going to call on. It's going to take all requests and redirect them to the soft AP IP. And then finally down below, we're going to tell it on the loop to keep checking for activity here. When I compile and start provisioning, As soon as I access the device provisioning SSID, without even going to a web page, I start getting these error messages. I disconnect and reconnect and get some more. They actually continue on as long as you sit here. There is a function that allows us to capture requests for which there was not a matching route, the enotfound function. If I add this to my web server, I can log out the URL that came in for this request that did not match a route. We compile and go through the same process. On my phone, I attach to device provisioning, and you get the same error messages, but notice we get the URLs as well. These are just routes on some domain. The domain is not known. The phone is making some request to some domain and route. The captive portal replaces that domain with our IP address, so all we see coming in is the different routes. But that's enough for what we need to do. I'll add routes for these two requests that came in. One for generate 204 and one for gen 204. Now we compile and go through the same process. I wait for and then select device provisioning, and we show repeatedly that we got an Android request. I just grabbed my wife's iPhone and tried that. We got more requests for which there is not a route. This base route hit. I don't know what this is, but I do guess that the iPhone is sending out a request to some domain without a route. When that domain is replaced with an IP address, the ESP32 then tells us that we hit the base route. Anyway, I'm going to go in and add a server route for hotspotdetect.html and note that it's an iOS request. We'll compile, come back in with the iPhone. We get an iOS request, and there again you see the base route hit. I turn on my Android again, and here comes that. Now I'm going to try my laptop. Let's attach to device provisioning. You've seen in previous videos that this never shows connected, but it is. Even though it doesn't give feedback, I can still bring up that provisioning website. This is probably in my Windows settings, but I really don't care to figure it out. My desktop computer back home does bring up the portal. My laptop doesn't. But when it comes to Windows computers, you're going to see in the next couple weeks that we don't need the portal anyway, because there's a better way to do it. My start provisioner function is now getting very crowded with routes. I'm going to break these into 3 different files, actually. Logically, these are all different. Favicon, I'm going to put that in the other route. These are definitely belonging to the captive portal routes. Enotfound is an other route. And lastly, these two are our base route and our save route. Those are, I'm going to call, base routes. I'll go quickly over the next part. It's not a lot of serious coding. I've got 3 pages. I want each to have one function. So in the header file, I'm going to create 3 new functions to set the base route, set the portal routes, and set the other routes. Then we can call these functions in our start provisioner. Notice that this is a lot easier to read now. So for the 3 files we just made, I'm going to do the same thing in each one, which is just export one function, and that one function will just call all the web server.on commands, thereby setting the routes for the server. So here's our Android and iOS routes. I'm not sure where those comments went, but so how do we make this a captive portal? It is simple. Instead of returning a 204, why don't we instead return the config page? That's it. That's what makes this a captive portal. I didn't show it, but you do have to include the html.h at the top of that file. But anyway, provisioning mode, device provisioning, sign in, sign in. This page now pops up without going to a browser. We add the creds. Boom. You've got a captive portal provisioner. This is my Arduino projects file. You can see I've got the libraries folder right here. I'll create a new folder, captive portal, and then I need to have a captive portal.ino as my sketch name for this to work. So I'll copy in main.cpp, give it that name. Now, one of the things I can do here is copy the provisioner library into the libraries folder, and it will work. But I'd rather see the files next to my sketch. So I'm going to copy them into the captive portal folder and then open this up in Arduino IDE. There are the files. We can see them all laid out there. I'll bring in my phone. ESP32 didn't auto select, but I'll set that up and compile. We've got a provisioner. You know the drill from here, device provisioning, sign in, enter credentials. Click, and we are connected. So this is officially Arduino IDE friendly. I'll put this in GitHub and you'll find the link in the description. Who knows, 6 months from now, this may stop working completely on operating systems, or maybe it'll work perfectly well. I don't know. I can only wish you good luck. At least now you've got it on your provisioner. So, well, hopefully you have a better experience credentialing your devices. I'm Larry. Have a good week. I'll see you at the next one.